In the studio with me, David Coutts-Trotter, the CEO of Sun International. David, if we look at we've chatted about the tourism side of things in South Africa, but on the casino side, clearly interest rates must be having an effect on the type of money that people have to spend in casinos.
Yeah, there's no question. I think if we look at it, the business held up pretty well through most of last year, 2007. But there's no question that right towards the end of the year, I think we started feeling the squeeze that many of the retailers have reported in their sort of revenue updates. So whilst the last quarter's numbers didn't look too bad, if you look at the published statistics coming out of gaming boards, the major ones, Gauteng, Western Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, I think if you go and analyze those further, you'll see that October was pretty good, November was less good, and December was definitely soft. And the signs certainly through the first half of January are that soft situation is continuing. So there's no doubt. I think look at current numbers coming out of the regulators, which is the whole market's numbers in the various provinces. I'd be surprised if revenue is going to be much above single digit in most provinces, unless there's been a significant change of supply.
Is there any view as to what might happen if we see a further interest rate hike at the end of the month?
Well, I think it could only hurt more. I must say, at this stage, one would be a little surprised if there was a further increase, given the sort of news that's coming out of the US, Europe, the UK. But I think that would really have the consumer in a big squeeze if we saw a further increase in rates. And I guess one's got to sort of question what the reasons would be. And I know inflation is obviously a concern, but at this stage, whether interest rates are really going to impact on things like food inflation, I doubt it. I mean, I think we're very much part of the global economy now, and that's the global cost of food, and inflation is affecting everywhere. So I mean, if you look at the US, Europe, food inflation is a global problem rather than a South African problem at this stage.
If we look at the current state of play in South Africa at the moment, clearly power outages are going to be with us for some time. What does that mean for a hotel like a Sun International hotel or a casino? Clearly, they must use quite a lot of power.
We do use quite a lot of power. Look, we have quite significant standby capacity. It varies from property to property. It's something which we are right now assessing as to whether we need to make changes. But certainly in our larger casinos, we can get through power outages. In the hotels, we can survive. We have, the odd property where we are 100% self-sufficient. So in fact, we can generate as much power we need. In fact, we can generate excess power.
So they'll put that into the grid?
Well, we have done. Interestingly, yes. I mean, down the Western Cape, in fact, we have been a net supply of power at times. So that's certainly something that we have done. But to be honest, it's big in our lives, but I don't think it's big in the size of the problem. But all of our facilities have reasonable standby. Most of them, the main casino floors, etc., that can run. And just from a safety point of view, in the hotels, you have to have a reasonable level. But at the end of the day, there are in most of the properties areas where we do lose some facilities, and that's a bit of a negative.
David Coutts-Trotter is the CEO of Sun International. That's all from Power Lunch in association with MoneyWeb. We're now crossing to CNBC Europe.